Greetings, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This will be the first production log for Transformers Extermination. Before we get started, I just want to preface this is a passion project. This is a fan project. I do not own Transformers. I've already worked with Hasbro, so they know I'm not on any foolishness, but I'm just saying it now to cover my cheeks. So, I'm going to give a brief summary of the story, a brief rundown of the roster, details on the production schedule, and I will answer any very commonly asked questions to limit any confusions about the project, okay? So first things first. The story. The story behind Transformers Extermination is what if instead of being created, the Transformers were a naturally occurring shape-shifting alien species? And what if the Quintessons discovered them, invaded their planet, and they were forced off of their planet? And they land on Earth in the year 10,000 BC. There is no modern technology. There's no modern machinery. What do they do? What do they turn into? That was basically the premise to which I started creating the story and this series. Personally, my favorite iteration of Transformers is Beast Wars, so I kind of wanted to do my own spin on that, just making a different story, okay? The main antagonist for this series will be known as the 5 exiled Quintessons. The 5 exiled Quintessons are Vorithrax the Cruel, Brathrathron the Executioner, Ravathron the Engineer, Zerviox the Assertive, and Morithrax the Intelligent. In a nutshell, they were exiled for a continued pattern of unethical scientific experimentations. We're talking cloning, resurrection, illegal experimentation, unconsensual experimentation, everything you could think of, any vile, despicable scientific thing you can think of, they have done it repeatedly. The star of Transformers Extermination will be none other than Cliffjumper. Now, I know what you're thinking. No, he's not gonna die in the very beginning. We're not doing that, okay? He is the star of the entire series. I'm gonna say it again. Cliffjumper is the star. He will not be dying in this series. We've had enough of that. The character roster. Now, the character roster for Transformers Extermination will feature a combination of original characters and classic characters. First, I'm going to list off the classic characters that will be showing up in this. First things first, Cliffjumper. Obviously, he's the star. Wheeljack. Wheeljack will be referred to as Blacksmith in this series. Sideswipe, who I have not designed yet. Ratchet, Perceptor, Optimus, Skyfire, also known as Jetfire, Ironhide, Alita, Drift, Bumblebee. Bumblebee will be referred to as the Gold Bug in this series. Arachnia, Barricade, Blitzwing, Brawl, Demolisher, Lockdown. Megatron will be going by Megatronus in this series. Megatronus Prime will be in the series. Scorponok, Shockwave, Soundwave, Starscream, Thundercracker, Devastator, Nemesis Prime. And our good old boy Skywarp is going to be in this as well, okay? Now on to the original characters, okay? We have Volantor, Sun Eater, North Drop, Graviton, Blockade, Bisector, Brigade, Dynamot, Dreadwasp, Sephricon, Serrator, Thronix, Tyrannodon, Ultradon, Nitrodon, Mastodon, and Macrodon, Dreadmaw, Longmaw, Razormaw, and Maximaw. And then we have a group called the Transformer Killers. Now, these are synthetically created Cybertronians made by the Quintessons for the sole purpose of terraformation and hunting down native Transformers. We have the Razorback, the Ozolok, the Scarlock, and the Violok. And then we have the Walkers, the Death Walker, the Ghost Walker, the Slaughter Walkers, and the Murder Walkers. This is a grand total of 58 characters. Currently, I am in the pre-production phase of this project. That means that I haven't done any final animations. I've only done test animations for 2. I haven't done any final renders. Right now, I am mainly designing and planning the characters, designing and planning the story, designing the world and finalizing everything so that when I exit pre-production, I can go into full production. If you're unfamiliar with the production phases, usually it goes pre-production, production, and then post-production. Currently, I have almost every character's design finished and finalized. I have 2 fully rigged character assets, the Murder Walker and Serrator. I will insert their test footage right now. One thing I want to assure people on is that I am focused on the quality of this project, making sure that the story is right, making sure that animation is professional level, because I am a professional animator. I still work as a professional animator. I used to work in the game industry. I worked on Hogwarts Legacy, worked on Marvel's Midnight Suns, and I did promo work for Transformers 1. So I know exactly how to animate Transformers, and I just know animation in general. So I'm going to make sure that this project is quality, it is top tier, it is professional level visuals and story. So the final version of this project will be a 3D animated series. I will be using Blender, ZBrush, Substance Painter, Embergen, GeoGen, LiquidGen, the Adobe Suite, and VIZCOM for creating this project. If you are not familiar with any of those things, I will give you a quick rundown. Blender is a free open source 3D software. It is the primary software that I use. ZBrush is an industry standard 3D sculpting and modeling software. Embergen is a real-time smoke and fire simulator by Jenga Effects. GeoGen is a real-time terrain creation tool, also by Jenga Effects. LiquidGen is a real-time fluid simulator, also made by Jenga Effects. For compositing and editing, I will be primarily using Adobe After Effects and Premiere, and then I will be using Photoshop for drawing the designs and planning out a lot of the concept art and stuff of that nature. I also have a Rococo motion capture suite where I will be mocapping a lot of the data for this as well. VIZCOM is a tool that I will be using to enhance some of the designs. When I say enhance, I mean I'm going to give it a more 3D look, and I'll show you what that means in a second. I want to be clear that VIZCOM is an AI tool. I am anti-theft, but I'm not against using AI to enhance your already created ideas, and I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about. So VIZCOM is also a free software. You can log in and create a file. What I do is import the drawings that I've already made. I've already made a lot of these designs either by hand or in my sketchbook or on Photoshop. The finished designs either have the line work or they will have the flat coloring and line work, okay? And then you put it in the program. This thing on the right here is called the influence bar. The influence bar basically is how much of your drawing do you want to be taken into consideration when making this generation. I put it at 100% because I want the entire design to be reflected in the final result. And when you get the final result, you'll notice it is not the same as the final composite that I have here on this sheet. So what I have to do is bring it into Photoshop. I have to overlay all the effects and line work and the colors that I already did, and I combine those things. And then I add even more actual hand painted or hand drawn things on top of it to give it more of that illustrative feel. Okay, then I paint in the details. So it is not like I'm just telling the machine to give me a design and then I just claim it as mine. No, I'm drawing each and every one of these out first, and then I'm coloring it, putting line work into it. I run it through VIZCOM, and then I bring it back into Photoshop, and I still do work on top of it. So none of the designs that I post when they have the enhancement, when I say that they have the enhancement, those are never just the raw output. I also still have to put a lot of layering and my own artist hand behind it. Okay, so just to be fully transparent about how the tool is used and where I'm using it for.
But wait, there's more.
We're gonna go now to frequently asked questions. Now, the first thing, Transformers RAZE. What is that? Some of you who've been following me for a while probably remember a while back I released a video called the Transformers RAZE official announcement trailer. Now, that was back when the story was going to be a little bit different. Now, RAZE is just one of the 6 chapters in Transformers Extermination. Okay, those 6 chapters are titled RAZE, Exodus, BC, Victorium, Deus Infinite, and Annihilation. Okay. Now, the chapter names are based on a significant event that happens in each chapter. So, for example, in Transformers BC, it does not stand for before Christ. It does not stand for before Common Era. It stands for Brimborian Cybertron. Brimborian basically means that something is valueless, it is useless, it is used up, it is damaged beyond repair. And that is because the Quintessons ravage their world so badly that the roster of characters that exist in the story are all that is left of the Cybertronian race. Everyone else is dead. The series is called Extermination because they are fighting extinction. They are fighting for their lives. The factions, the Autobots, Decepticons, things of that nature. The factions in Transformers Extermination do not exist as they are typically represented in most media. There are no Autobots or Decepticons, for example. There's no civil war. The idea behind this is because their ecosystem is balanced. The whole story revolves around them having a balanced ecosystem, and the Quintessons come and they just mess everything up. They throw everything off balance, and this is just a catastrophic event for Cybertronians. So all of the Cybertronians subscribe to this sort of natural balance of life and death, energy being used and recycled, that sort of thing. Okay, like the circle of life. So something such as war would be disgusting to them. Greed would be disgusting to them. They don't take more than what they need. They're kind of more advanced in a way as far as preserving the environment, preserving life, things of that nature. A Transformer, a Cybertronian, would not look to the stars and say, we need to go explore that. They would go, we have everything we need right here. Why would we go out into space? Where humans have a lot of ambition, and we would say, why can't we go to space? Matter of fact, let's go to space right now. They don't have that sort of ambition or greed or need to get something more than what is provided for them. The Cybertronians even look at death in a different way. They don't look at it as a net negative. They don't mourn, for example. They see death as sort of a natural conclusion to your life. That's what's supposed to happen. You have energy when you die, and you give the energy back. It is the circle of life, essentially. Now, what throws this off balance is that so many of them die. They are put in such a desperate scenario where in their normal everyday lives, such a cataclysmic event would never happen. But because they were disrupted by the Quintessons, it's thrown their entire ecosystem, their entire way of living out of balance. And that's kind of the point of the story. So I find it more interesting when there's a contrast between aliens and humans. So because the Transformers are the aliens in this scenario, they have a different outlook on life. They have a different culture. They have all these different things. So even when they meet humans, they don't even understand why we're doing the things that we're doing. They don't understand why they have these tools for excessive violence. They don't understand why there's war. Why are they hunting each other? Why are they committing such these violent acts? They don't really understand it. However, they believe that all life is sacred. And because they came to Earth, they have brought this conflict to the humans. Mind you, this is in the year 10,000 BC. The humans have no modern technology. They don't have any F-22s, no B-2 bombers, no A-10 Thunderbolts, nothing. They don't have any modern technology. They are outmatched and outclassed. So the Cybertronians still feel it is their responsibility to protect them, at least from the collateral damage and from the impact of the Quintessons invading their worlds. They won't stop them from killing each other. Right? If a Cybertronian sees humans at conflict, you know, that's their thing. But if another outside force comes and threatens to exterminate every single person on the planet, now that's just crazy. That's too much. That's too far. So the Transformers still see the value of protecting life and protecting the humans. Another question I get so often is, why are the designs so different? So my design philosophy behind making the Cybertronians look the way they are is that they are Transformers. They are essentially shape-shifting aliens made of living metal. So I wanted their designs to reflect that. They can be a variety of shapes, sizes, forms, proportions, whatever you can think of, okay? Because they mimic other life forms, other pieces of technology even. So in universe, the reason why so many of them have drastically different shapes is because it's based on what life forms they encountered when they got to Earth, or what life forms they encountered on other planets before they got to Earth. So Optimus, for example, he's shaped like an ape. Okay, and a lot of people have jokingly called him Aptimus Prime or Optimus Prime. I find it kind of funny. But Optimus is shaped like an ape because when he arrived on Earth, he arrived in Africa. That was the area that he landed in. He later migrated to somewhere else, but he landed in Africa. He saw apes. He saw how strong they were. He saw one specifically like beat another one to death. So his mindset is, okay, we are on the run. We're fighting for our lives. I need to pick a form that is strong. So the first thing he sees is a strong animal. He takes on the form of said animal, and he becomes ape-shaped. If you take the character Dino Maw, for example, he's very curious, he's very observant, so he encountered many life forms and chose to mimic various traits. If you look at his feet, they look like ape feet, they look like hands, right? Because he encountered chimpanzees, orangutans, gorillas. If you look at his face, it's the shape of an owl because he saw the bird and he liked the way the face looked, so he took on that shape. The neck is also taken from birds, how flamingos or geese have like these long cylindrical necks, and his fingers are taken from insectoid shapes because, you know, a lot of like insects, they have like a lot of digits and joints and stuff like that, so that's where his shape comes from. What are their alt modes? Do they even transform? The answer is yes, they do transform. Their alt modes consist of Cybertronian creatures and weaponized Earth creatures. So on Cybertron, they're not just like the main characters, the main roster of Transformers that we know and love, how usually they're the only ones on the planet. On my version of Cybertron, there are thousands of life forms on Cybertron, all of which have the ability to transform, and they take on the traits of other things, right? So they turn into those creatures, they assimilate those traits, and they will do the same with creatures that exist on Earth. Now, I'm pretty sure the reason people keep asking me, do they transform, is probably because the alien kibble is unrecognizable because the creature in and of itself is not a creature that exists, so they don't know what to look for. Are they fully organic? Technically, yes. Organic means derived from life or derived from living things or carbon-based life forms. So anything that is alive, whatever their body composition is, that is organic. The hard shell of a turtle is organic. Your nails are organic. The metal in your blood is organic. So these Cybertronians, these aliens, are technically organic. Are they soft flesh and bone? No, they are made entirely of metal, refined metals, natural metals, metallic ores, and the softest part of their body, air quotes, softest part of their bodies, is I call it cyber organic flesh, but what it really is just like a soft metal, so that it's like their connective tissue. But if you were to shoot it, for example, it would be bulletproof. Like it's still a really refined and durable metal. So none of them are made of flesh and bone. Last things last, certainly not least, Discord. I have a Discord. I will link that in the description. Discord is where I organize all of the designs, all of the lore sheets, all of the bios. I will also put links to these production logs so you guys can keep up with the project as it is going. Right now, I do not have an estimated date of release. I'm still in pre-production. As the production goes on, I will have a better idea of when the first episode will come out because I will be dropping them episodically. But until then, click the link to the Discord, join, you can share your work, you can give feedback, you can ask me any more questions. I have an Ask the Creator channel. We have a channel to share your artwork. We have a channel to get feedback on your artwork where we just discuss. We have Transformer discussions. We have regular discussions, all things of that nature. So if you want to join the community, go to the description and click the link. And you guys have a great and wonderful day. Peace.